Hello, I am Bentham, and welcome back to Factorio Railworld. We've just arrived in 0.2. Look at that, rocket travel. New hidden research that you can't actually do, replacing rocket defense, I guess, and for now unresearchable, but later on in 0.13 I imagine that will become available. But yes, we are in the 0.12 update, and that means lots of new things, one of which is that some turrets over here have exploded because with them changing size, they've all expanded, overlapped each other, and ended up on top of the rails. They got hit by a train and blown up. So I'm just going to leave those. Hopefully the blueprints will disappear and that won't be a problem. Shouldn't happen anywhere else, I don't think. I don't think there's anywhere else where I've crammed in the turrets quite so much. Maybe Iron Outpost 1. Not 1, 2. But anyway, another thing that 0.12 means is that all of the belts in the game are sort of broken. Or most of them, because everywhere where a... basically anywhere where a belt ends, the items on it now don't go into the next square along, which means that inserters can't pick them up from there. So what I need to do now is go around everywhere and fix them. Basically extend all the belts by one, so that the inserters can once again grab stuff off of them. Otherwise, everything will just sort of stop, including the trains, because they need... they need inserters to take things off the supply belts and well, take coal off the supply belts and keep them running. So we need to go back to the main base to sort that out, make sure the trains all continue, make sure that all the assembly of everything carries on. Otherwise, death and destruction will befall us, and we'll have to go gallivanting around the map, finding all of the dead trains and bringing them back to life. So let's begin. We've hopped on board the mega train. We've checked the cargo wagons and our own supplies of stuff. Everything looks fine, and we'll set off when we get back home. We'll have a bunch of stuff to resupply on because we've been making a lot of use recently of the materials that we've acquired. Well, the materials that we brought along in the mega train. So it's going to be quite cool to watch all the bots doing all their cool stuff. While we're on our way there, I built myself some chain signals because we want to make use of some of those on our way back. Also, in a moment, we're going to encounter another train along here, and luckily, the way the system's designed, the train can make its way past. Also, working on some signs there. There it is. It gets into the passing point, and we can continue on. There is a danger with this system that you can have clogs. I think you need 2 trains going in both directions, or the mega train going in one direction and 2 trains going in the other, and that would cause a problem. And I could fix that by adding in chain signals, but it would make the system unbearably slow, and I can't be bothered with that, so we'll just wing it for now, and there shouldn't be any problems. Whenever the mega train's going anyway, we'll be present, and there won't usually be 4 trains going on it. Currently there are 3 that run regularly. Adding in the mini train would be a 4th, but again, we would probably be on that, or it would be on a one-off mission. Anyway, I've just added a chain signal on this particular junction here, because this big long section that basically you want the exit to be clear of before you set off into it. Thinking about it, I don't think I've done it right. Basically, I was in a rush. I wanted to get back home and get on with fixing things there before all the trains started shutting down. I think what I was wanting to do was add in some more stuff in the middle of it, but I sort of rushed it, only put in 1 chain signal in the end. I needed at least 2, one going in on the other side, but I've just left that for now. On my way out of Mega Copper, I suddenly remembered that I was going to put in some radars, and I sort of forgot. I quickly stopped, ran back, and put those in so that we actually can now see what's going on in the Mega Copper base when we're not there, because I keep forgetting and then not knowing if there's been a clog or something over at the system there. So we can keep an eye on what's going on over there. Later on when we make our way back through, I'll sort out the signals properly. Also, I'll sort out the belts because I actually missed doing them there. I think I covered pretty much every outpost and base on the map in this episode, but I forget Mega Copper 1 because I was just sort of rushing through it. I was also a bit rushed because the Mega Train was blocking other trains from getting through, and that could cause all sorts of issues as well. So, we're home, and immediately the bots go into a frenzy, of course, because a million things to deliver, and it's quite cool to watch them. Also having a look at the power system. Looks like our backup power system is slightly broken because it's kicking in just when night falls rather than when the power runs out. Look at all these bots flying around. It's so cool. They've all got different jobs and everything, and you know, they all have their own particular purposes. They're all queuing up to power up here, and I'm quite enjoying watching it. It's a bit like watching your rail system when it's in full force. Just seeing all of the sort of fruits of your labour running along in the background. So, first order of business, Iron Outpost 1, it's the nearest thing to us, so we'll sort out the belts for that. There's also quite a few miners that have run out there, so we'll get rid of those, clear them away. Our inventory's getting worryingly full, we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then we'll go over to the train unloading area. Shouldn't be anything here because it's all unloading rather than loading. Though there is coal loading, I have to keep an eye on that. And while I'm here, I spot that I never actually sorted out some sort of buffer chest for this, and quite a lot of the belt is empty right now. So it seems like a good idea to add in a buffer chest to help keep up a supply of coal, because the last thing you want is a shortage of coal being supplied to your trains, resulting in them all just shutting down. So I sorted out the smelters there, put in the end belts for that, and then for the steel as well, and then for this steel over here, all the stuff for the rail production. And I think that's all covered there, and we'll continue on to the main base where it gets very confusing. Nothing with the unloading of the plastic train there, but there is some stuff over here with where the plastic train contents go. Also the belt production here. Some modules that I missed. Now that we have the modules being displayed on the items while you have Alt enabled, I can now tell when I've missed modules somewhere, which is fantastic. Also, thanks to the new logistics trash slots, I can get rid of a bunch of stuff in my inventory because I tried to move that turret there and I didn't have any room. So I just dump a bunch of random stuff into the trash slots. Bots come along, take them away, put most of them into just a storage chest for now. It may get a little bit messy. We may have to put a couple of those around just to keep, just so that we have room to unload all the random bits and bobs we'll gather over time. Also, we'll sort out the science stuff because it's running again. Of course, we need to research rocket silos, which is basically rocket defense all over again. I think it's got the same science costs and everything, so we'll make sure that's all. That's got enough alien artifacts in it to keep it running. Moving on with the belts, we've got our production of power poles and chests, and then we have our advanced circuits. This has all sorts of little fiddly bits along it. Basically, everywhere where a copper wire line ends needs sorting, and the very endings of the circuits and plastic need sorting as well as copper itself for going into copper wires. And then I noticed that we've actually had an attack in Iron Outpost 2. I didn't hear the alarm. I don't know whether it didn't go off or what. But that is a concern. Particularly considering the new biters have been implemented. Now at this point I need to try and pronounce it. It's either Behemoth or Behemoth or Behemoth, or I don't even know. I should know this. I'm sure many people do. It's a common... oh no, it's not a thing in Final Fantasy. It does have Leviathan, but not... It's got Bahamut instead of Behemoth. I don't know. I'm gonna call him Behemoth because that comes to me most easily. Though it's entirely possible that's the American pronunciation or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, more belt ends to put in. I've just sorted out the entire bottom half of the factory, and now we'll go through the top half. And you can see I'm gonna miss the one for the pipes there. Yep, off I go. Didn't sort out the supply of iron for the pipes there. I'll have to go back to that one later. I think there's a couple of odd ones I miss around the place because it's just such a mess, and you're having to go over everything you've ever built to find all those little bits where an inserter interacts with the end of a line to put it in. As I've said before, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's the more intuitive thing for new players. New players always extend the belts one block too far, so it does make more sense. It's what people expect. The only issue is that people who've already built factories are now finding that they don't work. Particularly in the case of, in my episode that came out yesterday of Living with Biters, the system for making bots is now irreparably broken, and I've had to replace it with a logistics-based system. But I think it's better that it's been done, because now, from now on, it's established as that that is the way that we do it. That is how the belts work. It's what people expect to start with, and it's what we'll get used to. So I think ultimately it's a good idea. Though there is a slightly less possibility for interesting designs where you have like inserters on top of other inserters, and all sorts of stuff like that. Because there's items being dumped by belts onto places where inserters are actually sat and cool things like that, but that's fine. It makes more sense ultimately. So, over at the backup power system, I find out why it's broken. It's because, of course, the reason that we have the whole thing with belts and inserters changing is because the mechanics of belts have changed, making them use a lot less computing power. But it means that there's been a bit of a rejig. Everything's slightly tweaked in how they run now, so I had to make a bit of a modification to the backup power system so that the items didn't manage to escape the fast inserters and get into the steam engines while the power was running properly. I do need to change that system. Now that we have the circuits, better support for the circuit system, I can probably now put together a much better backup power system that doesn't use a weird like belt speed based system, but I'll have to work that out first. So for now it's going to stay as it is. We're over at the oil outpost now, sorting out all the belts as usual, looking at the coal supply. It's not looking brilliant, it's running down, which is one of the reasons that I stopped the coal train that was delivering from here. We've now got the new coal outpost down by the circuit production. I think sooner rather than later we're going to be transitioning over to the coal being delivered to here rather than from here, because the plastic train still takes it away to supply the main train area. So, you know, if the coal does run out over here, that's all of the main train area without coal, which is a bit of an issue. Speaking of fuel, we're now going to make some solid fuel, because for the first time that is now something you need to complete the game. So what I'm doing is looking through the different recipes, trying to work out which one is the most efficient in terms of resources, and as far as I can tell it is light oil. That looks like the most efficient one, because you crack one heavy oil into 2 light oil, I think, and then it takes 1 light oil to make the solid fuel. I think that's how it works. I think I've got it right. If I've not, then please inform me, because I'm not very experienced in this area. I've never really used solid fuel, so I'm not that well versed in its sort of the best ways to go about using it. But yeah, now we've got that, we can make that into rocket fuel in the near future. Anyway, power failure. It's all shut down because, of course, our arrival back at the base has sent things into uproar. Everything's running again for the first time in a while. So it's all gone a bit crazy, and we've got some power issues. And I have a quick look at the power graphs, see how it runs, and it looks like the backup power system does a decent job. It gets things running again to a certain degree, which is its main purpose. And then shortly after, the sun rises enough to fix all the power stuff again. But we may want to look into putting more solar panels and accumulators around the place, just to keep it. We don't really want to be relying on the backup power system is the thing. I would like to try and get things working again. I've given up on just like keeping with the 12 squares of accumulators now. I'm just going to add more in, I think. Anyway, we're over at the circuit outpost sorting out the coal loading over here. I've noticed there's a couple of trains that have wood in them. I don't know whether that was something I was doing out in the wilderness, giving all the trains there some wood for the supplies. I don't know what was going on. Maybe it's been in there since I set the trains up in like originally. But I don't like it, so I'm taking it out where possible. Though I didn't take it out of that particular train because it was very short on coal, and I wanted to make sure that it could carry on running. So I'm sorting out a couple of things with chests, because basically I'm getting more worried about the coal supplies. Basically, I made a second game. I basically split the timelines, and in a slightly older version of Railworld, I started playing with the 0.12 stuff, and I did my overview video. And in that, a couple of issues developed. One of which was where all the trains shut down because of the whole belt issue. Another one was that Oil Outpost 3 got attacked. So we'll address that later on. But yeah, I'm a bit more wary now about the coal situation. So I'm putting in more storage chests for the coal to make sure there's plenty around for the trains. Though there was a belt that I actually put backwards that you may have spotted, and I need to make sure to fix that before the train it applies to dies, because it will. Anyway, I was just looking around the circuit outpost there, sorting out all the modules and things, and I noticed that there's actually a ton of furnaces that don't have any modules in, thanks to that biter attack a while ago that decimated, well, annihilated, it annihilated everything in the circuit outpost. It was pretty bad, and I didn't finish resupplying stuff with modules because we ran out of them. So I need to work on that, and thanks to the new feature where you can see what module something has in just when you're walking past it, I've noticed that that's a problem. Anyway, we're up at Iron Outpost 2. Seeing as it's been attacked recently, I'm going to put. I'm just sort of checking up on the defences. There are actually a couple of. There was an area where there weren't any gun turrets in place, which is where the biters were actually attacking. So it's a good job that I came along and filled those in. There were a couple of turrets that needed a little bit of resupply, but it looks like the laser turrets are pretty much carrying it, and there's not very much trouble for the standard turrets right now. So moving on, we'll go over to Oil Outpost 3. And we'll do a little bit of bolstering the defences. It may not be attacked because with the file that I used for 0.12 being a little bit further back, because I started it up at a point where I was in the main base, so that I didn't have to take the train back and waste time. The attack actually happened in the past for this outpost, but because the past happened in 0.11, things went differently and it hasn't been attacked. But it may still be attacked. There is always the potential. The bases are sort of creeping along in the north, and seeing as I'm away from the main base a lot, I've not been sort of addressing that. So they have been advancing, and attacks will probably get more frequent. And with the new behemoth biters, I don't know what I feel like saying better. Whatever, the behemoth biters, I'm just going to stop saying it. The bigger biters, I'll call them the bigger biters or the huge biters or something. With them being a thing now, it's more worrying because they take more fire before you bring them down, so they have more time to blow up your walls. The reason they were actually put in was to reduce lag, because of course in the late game the biter forces can get very large, and you can have so many that it really causes some lag having just so many big biters running at you. So they made the bigger ones so that so that there was just less going on. Games ran better, and there's been a lot of reports of games running a lot better now because the belt lag has been reduced to like a third of what it was before, I think, with the new feature, the new way it functions. All sorts of good stuff like that. So very well done to the developers for really cutting down on things and making everything run smooth as silk again. It's fantastic. So yeah, we've been running around other outposts. We've been over at the stone one, sorting out the things over there, and now we are parking up once again. I think there is one more place we need to visit now, but I think before we go there, we're going to sort out a new assembler, because there's a new item, and that item is concrete. Thing is, concrete needs iron ore. I don't know why it's awkward, but we'll deal with it. We'll just build it by the unloading area. We've got got an iron line right there. We can just get a splitter on that, get a couple of underground belts, take it over to the water, because it also needs water, just to add to the complexity of it. And then it also needs stone bricks. It's a bit of a mess, and they're all niche products to me: stone, ore, and water. It's all sort of, when you have production involving that, you have that in specific places. And so I might in other maps have stone right by ore, but in this case it's a little bit to the north. I mean, it's not very far, and the bots have no trouble delivering it over. But I'm just going to set it up here. Seems like the easiest way. We'll have it going into a provider chest, and at some point in the future we'll just grab a bunch of concrete and start building like crazy. Though you do have to be careful, because there is currently a bug where I think if you make a 3x3 square of concrete and then you deconstruct it, it generates water. I found out this because I tried to do it on some oil deposits. I tried to like surround them with concrete to make them look nice, and then I decided I didn't like it, got rid of it, and the oil deposits disappeared because they turned into water. But anyway, we're over at the new coal outpost right now, checking the belts there. What I decided to do is sort out loading of the trains there. I don't know why I didn't have coal loading into the trains there before, but it seems like a good idea to do, so I've just done it now. Possibly going against something I've said before, I forget, but it's not important. It means that there's not any coal being used up in any other outpost because that train needs to fuel itself. Anyway, I've just delivered some bots to myself. Well, I've just taken them out of the chest. I think you can't use logistics bots with your personal roboport, but I feel like having 50 of them handy anyway, along with the 50 construction bots I have. And let's make immediate use of them by using a deconstruction planner there to get rid of the old rocket defense production. We, of course, don't need it anymore because rocket defense isn't a thing, though we will need an assembler to make the new the rocket silo. And we will do that. We'll start working on that next episode once we've actually got it researched. It's taken the entire episode to get the research done. And I'll just set up production of modules because they all got annihilated when that assembler shut down. Just seems like a good idea to have 50 of each kind of level 3 module handy should I ever need them. But you don't actually need them for the end game anymore. You only need like steel and plastic and other stuff like that. But anyway, we've come to the end, so I should make my way to the middle and say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.